Let's go. Game time.
The standard is the standard. That's our motto. That's our creed.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Better Baby Daddy podcast. I am one of your co-hosts, John Laxman,
And I am your other co host, Kelly Burgess.
and today we are joined by the positive and powerful Will Adams Sr. of the Village podcast. Will, can you tell us why you are joining us here on the Better Baby Daddy Club podcast?
First of all, the name got me, bro. Like the name was like, I'm here to buck the system. I ain't a baby daddy. Like I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm all that, man. So it's. I mean, I like what we're doing as men, right? And if you look across social media, men are just it's positivity, man. So anything to do with fatherhood, I don't care what it look like. It say dad on it. Listen, I'm following you, bro, because this is something new, And I think as society has, you know how it is, society's giving fathers, I ain't gonna say a bad name, but it's just like we don't get the the notoriety that we should because I'm old school and I feel like you guys may have the same mindset that I do, but the father is still the head of the household. And
Agreed.
if the father's not right mentally, then that's when things go awry, right? So I think what we're doing now and what you guys are doing is teaching young kids, young men to be great fathers, great husbands. It's cool to be married, bro. Like it's cool to, you know what I'm saying? It's cool to be a dad. Like those things are cool. Sometimes it don't work out. So, for me, the name and the positivity that you guys are bringing is the reason why I wanted to pop on, man.
Hey, well, we really appreciate you joining us. You touched
Absolutely.
on a lot of heavy things right there that I want to eventually get to, but could you tell our audience a little bit about your story before we jump into some of those really heavy societal issues that you just mentioned briefly there?
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. So I'm the founder of the Village Network, which is a nonprofit based out of Dallas, Texas. It's geared towards autism, but it's also geared towards building more awareness in the autism space. But we're creating a space for dads to be seen, to be heard, to be a part of a brotherhood, right? And I think those are the things that I kind of touched on is that we don't get the we don't get the notoriety I feel like we deserve because as fathers we do a lot and it's a lot behind the scenes that a lot of people don't see, but we still end up getting thrown in that category as uh you know dad's not around and dad didn't want to stay because of certain situations within the marriage or within the family dynamic, right? So I'm building more awareness around that, bro, because I think there's a lot of mom groups, there's a lot of, wives, mothers that support each other. But I think you guys touched on a lot of, about mental health awareness, right? And I don't think a lot of people really understand the mental side of having a child with special needs, man. It's not. We already, as fathers, as parents, you already have the stress about your kids, right? That's just first and foremost. But the capacity of like knowing that somebody can hurt your child at any moment because they can't speak.
Mm, mm,
The moment that you realize that your son may have some type of stigma that people may not understand. Um, it's so many things that you can look and say from a disadvantage standpoint. Those things keep us up at night, bro. Those on top of just regular everyday life. So the Village Network is what it is. It's a village. We're building something to where brothers can have real conversations with like-minded dads that are going through the same thing. And then
mm.
that's where it rolls into our podcast. The Village Podcast, which is on YouTube. Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We on all major platforms, man. It's therapy
Mhm.
for dads. It's therapy for fathers to come on and be vulnerable, like kind of what we doing right now. But
Okay.
just talking about a different topic. Still fatherhood, still, but we're iron sharpens iron, bro. Like, and I feel like it's the most important thing in this in today's society with amongst our community is what we need. So,
Yeah.
that's who I am on top of being a husband, a father of two. I'm a father of, a non-neurodivergent child. And then I have a child that is neurodivergent, right? So my life is balanced, but it's also hectic. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm pulled different ways, and I have to I teach my daughter differently than I teach my son because my son can't speak to me, right? He can sign, I know sign language, to communicate, but he's 7, but he just hasn't caught up to 7 yet, if that makes sense to you.
Mhm.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. So,
My my wife just called me and I think did it pause?
You did your video
yeah,
Okay.
pause, but
no,
Um
we can.
the audio's still good though. The audio's
Yeah.
good.
okay, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it was one of those things where, I look at it and it's a beautiful life, bro. It really is because it keeps me on my toes. Um, it also keeps me sharp mentally because I always
Mhm.
have to be on point with both of my kids, right? It's just a different way with my son because
Mhm.
there are things that, right now he's not doing that my 9-year-old does, right? Which is talk, which is communicate their needs and their wants. So those are the things that I think men just need to just have an outlet, bro. Because some parents have multiple kids on the spectrum with no child that's non-neurodivergent, right? So it's like, you know, you think about their lives. I've met so many brothers and families just in these last 7 months of me starting this, man. And the consensus is, bro, we need this. Like, where have you been? Like, this is something God put on.
Mhm.
I had to be that dad that just really stepped up and not only care about my son, but care about the community. And so
Mhm.
that's what this is about. And that's what the village represents as a whole, from the podcast to the network.
Man, that's beautiful, man. And at first, I want to say, I want to be like you when I grow up. One lady, simple life.
Simple,
But
man.
uh,
Simple.
but we
Simple.
applaud brothers like that, and we try to steer brothers in that direction. Of course, while we know everybody's not in that place, but kudos to you and your wife. There's a beautiful video
Appreciate
that
it.
you posted. Well, I saw it recently. I don't know when you posted it, but you and your wife, I guess, in the kitchen, and y'all are saying Happy New Year, and your son says something, and
Yes.
she says he said it, and then it was so funny. I listened
Yes.
to it a couple of times, and you were like, "I heard him, honey."
That was and
Yes,
that's
Yo.
really
brother.
what that's really that really and I got a lot of slack for that, right?
Yeah.
Because it was New Year's and I
Uh-huh.
literally was popping a cork on the bottle by this trying to say Happy New Year. We're going around the table, something we do every year for family, right?
Right.
We send videos.
Right.
Unexpectedly, my son just out of nowhere says Happy New Year, and I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, did he just say that? And then my wife is just like, oh my God. I'm just like, so I'm caught off guard and I'm thinking to myself, like, wait, he really just said that. That was January 1st, 2026.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I took that as a sign,
Hey, amen.
and if you know anything about, special needs, autism, whatever the case may be, like, we take milestones and we run with them, bro, because you just never
Hmm.
know when it's going to come back up again. Right.
Yeah.
So after the video was cut off, man, like, I mean, we cried, we celebrated, we did all those things, but I got hell on social media for it. And they're like, oh, dad doesn't care. Well, guess what? Dad does care.
Yeah,
It's the village.
absolutely.
It's for
Yeah,
my son, bro.
yeah.
You know what I'm
People
saying?
don't
Like, this for my
understand.
son.
Yeah, yeah. They don't understand. I think the comment I left y'all was that sometimes the Lord lets you see the magic that's working behind the scenes, and He'll
Right,
just drop, just, hey, I've seen you, I've heard your prayers. Let me
right.
just give you a little taste to let you know, your faith is not gonna go unrewarded. So thank you for sharing that, really appreciate that. And thank you for the work that you do. We work
I appreciate it.
with kids. Yeah, absolutely. We get a little snippet, in our field of work where we deal with kids who have very different needs. And John and I were talking today just about how, as educators, we have to constantly adjust to and try to find the unlock for kids, and you provided a place for dads where dad can be seen and said, man, I'm at my wit's end. Or what did you try? Or how do I keep my marriage together? Well, we got the stress of this thing that most families don't have to deal with, is we're dealing with it. Help us out. And so that is one of our core tenets, is that dudes have to have a tribe around them
They
that
do.
understands the journey they're on. It's fit for that journey. So
Right.
kudos to you and your team that set that up, man. Just blessings to y'all. Um, I just have a quick question of, what is one thing to, like, have the bedroom discussions with your wife about, man, we really need, some support. Or I wish there was some other guys that knew about this. That's one thing. And it's another thing to start a podcast. And it's another thing to start a network. So talk us through how you move from, hey, I'm a dad with a neurodivergent child, to, I'm gonna run this thing that benefits dads.
Um, so I'll give you some context. Um, I'm in sales by day. And, I'm always researching different trends in my industry, those type of things. And for me, me and my wife was just having a conversation, and it came up, I was laid off for like 10 months, man. And I was really trying to find my way. Right. And she's like, just pray.
Mm,
And I prayed and I prayed and I prayed and I prayed, God, what's my purpose? What, uh, why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? I'm 41 and I'm going through this. Woe is me. Woe is that. Like, I didn't know. And it just came to me. It's just like, you know, your purpose is your son. Find a way to, because one day your son's going to be 18. One day your son's going to be an adult. And look at, this diagnosis was not a hindrance. It's a blessing. It was a blessing to you and your family, and actually made y'all stronger. So you have a you have a choice. You can either gatekeep and just live your life as you choose, or be a part of something that is bigger than you and it's bigger than your family. It's reaching out to other families. It's being given a voice to, and as a man and as a black man, let's not leave that out. Um, I I just thought to myself, okay, how can I be of service? And I just hopped on a live one day, man, and just I was just vulnerable, man. I never told anybody that wasn't in my circle that, my son was spectacular, right? And I'm starting to say spectacular versus spectrum, right? Because
Mm,
that just sounds so much better, because they are amazing. They're great kids. But it was like, do I just sit on this and gatekeep and not be a vessel? Because God just told me what my purpose was in life. And I just thought, what do I do good? What do I do good at? I'm a talker. I can talk. I've been in sales. Um, I'm a man. I deal with mental health issues, just on a day to day basis, because of, life in general. Like, we all stress, but we don't realize what we're dealing with, and we can't put a name on it.
Hmm.
And it's like, okay, how can I be a voice to other men that are going through the same thing that are in this space? Because what I looked up and I researched, I couldn't find nothing. There's all these mom support groups, wife support groups. And I told my wife, I said, I think I'm gonna start a podcast. And you know what she said to me? Good, because your ass can talk. And I was like, yeah, I couldn't even argue with her. I was just like, yeah, because that's just me, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
she's an introvert. I'm an extrovert, but I am an introvert at times. Like, sometimes I get, because I'm in sales, I'm around people all the time. I'm talking. So I have my days where, and I'm an only child. So
Oh.
sometimes I just like to be by myself. Right. So when she said that, I was like, okay, kudos. Like, I'll let that slide. But she's like, no, I mean that in a good way. Like, you've never met a stranger. And I thought about that. And she was like, it's perfect for you. It's perfect for you because, you're vulnerable, you're open, and, you got to look for it, right? You got to look, you just have that look and people gravitate to you. I played basketball when I was in college, man. And I've always been a point guard. And you know anything about basketball. Like back then, you were looked at as the coach on the court, per se, right? So for me, I took that to heart and I just started doing research, reached out to a couple of my guys that I've been on for a long time. And I said, hey, I want to run something by you. And when I talked to them, they were like, dog, that's deep. And we need you reaching out to us to start this, it just means that much more. And for me, I see the vision. I always saw the vision, but I'm a realist. I take things one day at a time. But my wife always told me, she's like, you don't know what you're doing because this is something that y'all need as men, especially as fathers with children with special needs. Like, we can't talk to everybody, Kelly. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just can't. Like, I got friends that have sons, they playing sports, all that other stuff. Like, we can't relate.
Yeah.
I can't tell you, hey, man, my search STEM today, and they ain't gonna be like, what the hell is stemming? You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
because either you're not educated about it or, you're not gonna understand where I'm coming from. Or sir had a milestone today. Like, sir talked, sir, he was running today, he jumped. It's not gonna be the same. I'm not gonna get
Right.
that same reciprocation I'm gonna get from you if you give to me and say, hey, man, my son ran a 4.2 today, man. I'm gonna be Jack, bro. I'll be Jack for you. Like, that's just me. But
Hmm.
we not the same. So bringing dads together that are like minded and are aligned or going through the same things, bro. I started a whole group me chat with nothing but guys that are going through the same thing we going through, and with the whole dad link of all that, man. And it's been amazing. It's been absolutely amazing because everybody's like, bro, you don't know how bad we needed this. So I'm just a vessel, guys. I really am. That uh I can't go against God. And this is what God asked me to do. So hey, I gotta do it, man. But it's all about legacy and it's all about creating something that's, hasn't been uh is a safe space for men to be open and be vulnerable and not gonna be judged about it, man. So that's really, how I got to this, man.
Man, I could just hear the passion in your voice when you talk about that journey and where you are now and where
Yeah.
you see yourself going. And just hearing that
It
passion
took
is
me a
it's
long
it's
time, man. It took me a long
right, it's
time, man. It
inspiring.
did.
It's inspiring. It's
Yeah.
I
inspiring for
appreciate it.
It
sure.
is.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Um,
it, man.
you spoke about vulnerability. And as men, it can be difficult to be vulnerable with how our society structures things. On our
Right.
podcast specifically, we talk about assertive vulnerability. And the concept of assertive vulnerability aligns more so with the masculine than it does with the feminine. And it's because men tend to be vulnerable different differently than women are vulnerable, right? We don't tend to be,
Right.
our vulnerability are conversations like this. It's not the crying, weeping type stuff that men usually do. Not that there aren't men that don't do
Right.
that, but this is vulnerability for us. Like me talking about my feelings, you talking about your journey. That's our vulnerability. What
Right.
has it been like for you to be so vulnerable online in front of thousands and maybe even millions of people at times?
Um, I don't think about it. I really
Mm,
don't, and to be honest with you, I would say in the beginning, I was more fearful for me being vulnerable about my son.
mm,
And you know how social media is. People make comments, those type of things. I don't care. You can say anything about me. Like I listen, unless you're gonna pull up, ain't nothing to talk about, man. Like you
Right.
know what I'm saying? Like I'm not gonna go back and forth. I'm not a Twitter finger guy. Like I'm not gonna do that
right.
because it's just I don't know where you from, and 9 times out of 10, it's a ghost account. Ain't got no face on it. It ain't like it's just people. It's just people being stupid, So, but it was my son, and I still kind of gravitate towards not posting him as much. But now I'm getting more comfortable with doing that, right? But as far as me, listen, man, I'm an open book, man. To be honest with you, like and I think it's just the my character, my personality. Being in sales, like you said, I've never met a stranger, man, because I have to talk to all different types of people from all different walks of life.
Hmm.
So I think for me, it's a natural feeling, and it's something that um, I don't say I'm at a point now where I relish it, but I actually do, because I think it's you got one thing. I think when you address that the way you did, the type of vulnerability, you got to have some type of confidence if you're doing it. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And if you're not having the confidence to do it, then you really have to like, you know, you got to practice a lot. You got to be in the mirror. You got to do all those things just to kind of get yourself prepared, which I still do sometimes. Don't get it twisted. But I'm just that type of person, man. Like I just like talking. I like I like because I think it helps other men and they see from a masculinity standpoint to where it makes sense.
Hmm. Hmm. Well said. Well
Yeah,
said.
well, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But it usually takes one person who's going to set the pace, and then when folks see you taking that risk, it's like an invitation for them to enter that depth too. Um,
Right.
Hmm.
I think spaces like this are good to be in public also because it does demonstrate to ladies, and not that we're doing this for the ladies, that hey, we can get to those spots of showing a weakness or a vulnerability. We just get to it differently than you, but it's just as genuine, and it should
Right.
be respected, and it should be
Right.
modeled and encouraged for our young men. Um, the flip side is when men don't do that, and you alluded to it,
Right.
and it's under the umbrella of your platform, they can get into a mental space that is very dark and very
Right.
destructive and very anti-family, and so you really kind of doing work on two fronts there by showing the vulnerability and then showing the pathway for guys where they can be healthy mentally when they're handling stuff. um Tell us about one thing we talk about on our podcast is that and we alluded to it earlier, is that we have these pillars of things that we feel like, man, you got to have these structures in place if you're going to be the kind of dad and husband and man you need to be. And one it's two of them: physical, taking care of yourself physically so that you have a vessel that can handle the mental stress and strain of life. Do you have some
Right.
go-to things that you do as a man to be able to handle all the different roles and the different pressures that you have?
You know what, man? I didn't really know, you know, I had men in my life growing up. My father wasn't around, right? So a lot of things were learned, right, through uh visibility or just actual use cases, right? To actually
Mm-hmm.
see them, in marriage is um, in the house every day, right? I didn't see that. So the things that I've learned, it's just been trial by error. You know what I mean? And I think I've finally found, because in the beginning it was like, people like, oh man, you my first child, my daughter. Are you reading books? Are you doing this? I'm just like, no. I just, I feel like you either got it or you don't. But one thing I always knew growing up is that I wanted to have kids and I wanted to give better than what I had as a child,
Yeah.
right? So no matter if I was single or I was a baby daddy, like I was gonna be the greatest baby daddy you could possibly have, right? And I think that comes from inside. That comes from a place where you want to be better than what was given to you. And
Yeah.
that's what motivated me so much, and I've literally learned different ways to, you know, when I'm angry, I know, hey, I gotta kind of chill out. So what can I do? I go to the
Yeah.
gym, right? Calm down, but I do a lot of things, with my kids, right? And that brings me joy, doing things with my family. That brings me joy. Like, yeah, life is life. Nobody has a perfect situation, and I'm not gonna get on here and say I do. But I think at the same time, it really boils down to uh, your partnership.
Mm-hmm.
Is your partnership where it needs to be, right? And I think that's where you see, and it's no disrespect, but I think it's just you either like this person or you don't. Y'all either
Amen.
aligned or you don't, right? And if you're not aligned or you don't like this person, deep down, you can love somebody all you want, right? And I think
Mm-hmm.
we get it twisted. It's like, oh, well, love is stronger than liking somebody. But to me, it's really, I think if you don't like somebody, like every time you see them, you get the stank face, right? You know what I'm saying? Like you can still say, "Oh, I love you," but
Right.
deep down inside, like, do you really like that person?
Yeah.
And that's I think people get that misconstrued because they say, "Oh, I fell out of love." Like, no, you didn't fall out of love. You have a piece of that person. You'll
Mm.
always love that person. It's just that you've grown apart and you just really don't like them, like as you did when you first met. And that's fine. People grow apart. That's life. So I think that's something, we got to look at because and you really got to ask yourself. So I think that on top of just finding different ways to make sure that you're mentally sound, you got a circle of people that um, you can bounce things off of, whether it's a therapist, whether it's friends, any of that.
Yeah.
That's why and I think I've been to therapy, I've done it and it works. Haven't been in a while, but I felt like it helped me out of some dark times that I was in years ago.
Mm.
And it showed me how to cope with certain things to where I feel like I didn't need to go back all the time, right? So I just kind of put myself, hey, I got to find people that are pouring into me positive
Yeah.
energy, right? And brothers that are doing things that are positive in the community. Because if you're not right here, bro, like you just
Mm.
existing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you just going through life, just existing. So yeah. I know I answered your question. I added some other stuff on there, bro.
That's all.
So my
No.
bad.
Hey. Hey,
I
man. I
told you I
mean,
could talk, man. I
no,
told
it's
you I
all
could
good,
talk now.
and,
Like,
and we appreciate that, bro. I mean, it's
Yeah.
really your platform. It's really your stage, and we're learning. And I think one thing John and I've noticed, particularly since we started having guests on a few months ago, is that it's highly therapeutic for us. We talk to
Hmm.
one another all the time. We spend a lot of time with one another,
okay.
and to hear something that we might have talked about early in the week. a guest comes on and says that, and sometimes John will see me nodding because we're like, man, we just talked about that Tuesday when you were talking about you better like the person. We just talked, John, about hey, you're gonna have about 18,000 dinner conversations with that person.
Right.
You better be able to lock in on a conversation for a minute. You're gonna have
Absolutely.
20,000, 200 vacations or whatever. Like you do have to lock up. So it's helpful to us when we hear other
Right.
people's story, and know that we're not alone.
Yeah,
And I think it
for
goes
sure.
back to, that sharpening iron, bro. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
mean,
Mm,
every brother's gonna have a different perspective on something, good, bad, and different. So it's
Mm-hmm.
what can you take away that may be a void or something that you think that you can critique into your own you can spin it your own way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's dope, man.
no, for sure, man. For sure. I want to dive into a little bit about fatherhood specifically for you. So you have um your daughter. How old's your daughter, if you don't mind me asking?
She's 9.
9, and then your son is
Yep.
okay,
7.
7. So I have an
So
11-year-old
Journey,
and a
Journey's
7-year-old.
Journey's 9.
Uh-huh.
Journey's 9. Sir William is 7.
Okay.
And then I have 2 bonus kids that
Okay.
are much older. Uh, they're 20 and 23 now, I think.
Mm-hmm.
One's in law
Okay.
school, one's currently in college. So,
That's
well, I'm
awesome,
sorry.
man.
She just graduated law school. So now
Okay.
Wow.
she's officially a lawyer
Wow.
in Chicago. Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, about
Hey,
that
man.
fatherhood journey. Can you tell us a little bit about your fatherhood journey? I know my journey and Kelly's journey, every day is a learning experience. And if we don't reflect
It
on those
is.
experiences, we end up doing some stupid stuff down the road in terms of fatherhood. Like, and there's no book. Everyone
Right.
says there's no book, and there's literally no book. So, what has your fatherhood
It's
journey been
not.
like?
Um, I would say just that, man. I
Yeah.
think it's you're gonna make mistakes and you just have to learn from them. And I treat it like I treat life, right?
Hmm.
It's you know your teens, your 20s made mistakes. You probably didn't learn a damn thing from anything, but I feel like
Not
as
until
you
you
get
say,
older, because it's just you, right? So you don't think about anything else other than yourself. And it's like,
hmm
I messed up on that, but I ain't go to jail, or I didn't slip up, get a girl pregnant. But it's like as soon as you bring life into the world, your whole mindset changes, right?
for
Your
sure.
whole thought process and how you move and navigate through life, you're thinking. I think
Hmm
all the time. And that's my wife tells me all the time, you think too much. And it's like, I have to, because
hmm
every mistake that I've made or lesson or loss that I've taken, and I look at them as lessons, whether it be with my kids or with life. And I think as I've gone through fatherhood is I have to have, you got to give yourself grace, right? Because
hmm
nothing you do is going to be perfect, right? And you have to you have to, now when your kids get to a certain age, you can explain a little more, right? You can be, my daughter's 9, so I have heart to heart conversations with my daughter, on certain things. If daddy gets mad, daddy's voice changes, right? So now she understands, like, hey, I don't have to scold you, but if I ask you 3 or 4 times and my voice gets louder and louder each time, then that means stop.
hmm
So I think your kids learn your cues too. It's just
hmm
like one of those things where you have to, it's trial by error, man. And I think as you get older and as the kids get older, I feel like it gets easier, but I haven't made it to the teens yet, right? So I'm gonna have to come back to you. I'm about to come back to you on that one. But I feel like now, I haven't I don't think you ever master fatherhood.
Nah.
You know what I mean? Like I think it's something that you constantly build and build towards to just be the best you
Yeah.
that your kids can see. Because
Yeah.
my kids, if my kids are looking up to me and they're watching everything that I do, then man, I got to be on
Mhm.
point. You know,
Right.
and I think that's me being vulnerable, me being, my daughter loves to talk. She's just like her daddy now, right? And
Mhm.
she knows daddy's, she's like, Daddy, you got to be on TV. He's like, I'm being on a podcast, right? She watches our podcast. She's told her friends about my podcast. So it's like, I don't know about that, but we not doing too much. We're not doing too much on the pod. It's just,
Yeah.
but it's still, I'm a representation of them,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and so I have to, they are my legacy, and I have to move accordingly, right? I have to
Mhm.
carry myself a certain way so that when they get older, they can look back and say, "Oh, Daddy indirectly taught us these things, or directly taught us these things just by the way he walks, just by the way
Mhm.
he talks, just by the way he carries himself. He walks with his head up, shoulders back,
Mhm.
and I." I don't lack confidence, and I try to instill that into my kids, especially today. Like
Yeah.
it's bad,
Yeah.
because I feel like a lot of these kids just lack confidence, and it's not, man, it's scary. So I just try to be as open and positive with my kids as I possibly can be, to set that example.
Yeah. You when you talk about you're not at those teenage years yet. Yeah,
Nah,
it's hey,
Neither am I, bro. Neither am I. Don't worry.
hey,
I'm not. I'm not.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not.
I've been through
Kelly,
it,
make sure
and
you
it's
drop your number in the chat. So when I get
hey,
there, like, I'm gonna call
hey.
you,
Bruh.
bro.
Let me tell
I,
you,
I pick his
yeah.
brain for the
I could,
teenage years stuff all the time. Like, yo, what's this? What's this? What's gonna happen here?
hey, you know what? It's sort of like whitewater rafting. Like you can explain it to somebody, but until you in that raft and you navigating
Listen,
them rapids, you really and the water's rushing around, you really can't understand it. But there's general principles that are good. There's principles of parenting
yeah,
that are good. They're just the how you have to apply them once they're teenagers, and they can try. Particularly daughters. We're all girl dads, um,
right.
and your daughters can get to a point where they can read you so well, and they'll dress you down when they see these inconsistencies. So in a way, they help you level up your game. They help you reflect on just
No,
hey, like you said, I'm
100%.
carrying. Yes, they will. So she's right at the cusp of it, I would imagine. And you know where to find us when it starts to happen.
I got you. I'm gonna call you, man,
Absolutely,
because
yeah, yeah.
listen, I just, we just discovered deodorant, and just leave it at that. I'm
Hey,
not
Yeah.
on here to,
listen,
I'm not on here to
right,
embarrass nobody, like,
right.
but
No, it's just
it, to me, it was like, oh shit, like,
Uh-huh.
this can't be happening. Like, she just turned 9. Like, what do we?
hey,
And
hey,
her
Bruh.
sister ran to the store. Hey, go to the
Hey.
store. We got to teach you this. We got to do, like.
hey,
But in my mind, I'm terrified. I'm like, oh my god,
hey,
bro. Like,
Yeah.
is this is this
hey.
what I'm gonna have to, like? No, not now. Like, that's my
Bro, but you know
baby,
the
dog.
next step.
Like, no.
But the next step, bro, that's
I
where
don't
I'm
even want to
I'm
know
like,
the next step. No,
bruh,
no.
It's like
I'm like
nah,
a
nah,
year or
nah,
two
nah,
from
nah,
it.
nah,
Nah.
Cut it out.
nah, nah,
Cut it out. Cut it out. Cut it out. Cut it out. I don't want to know. No, no,
I ain't
no,
even
no,
there yet though,
no,
but I ain't even there yet. But it's gonna happen. For me, it's like in
no.
the next six
I'm
to
good, bro.
12 months or something. I know it's gonna happen, bro.
yeah, yes, it is.
Listen,
Yes,
listen. I told her mama. I said, listen. When that happens, I don't want to know nothing.
I don't
Like,
want to know nothing.
Nah, bro.
just go. Just do what you got to do. Like, I don't want to know nothing, bro. Like, I don't. Like,
Bro.
I'll be in my corner somewhere, like, literally crying my eyes out. Like,
Hey,
Like, no, I don't want to know. I don't, bro. I
Hey,
really
listen,
don't.
Yeah.
I just hope it doesn't happen on my weekend, like where I'm solo and I'm like, bro, like,
Whew. Whew. Hey,
I didn't even think about that,
hey,
man.
you
I didn't even think about that.
you
That's
better.
cool.
Hey, you better. I'm pretty sure YouTube got everything. So
bro,
you
I'm
type
calling her
in.
mother. I'm calling her mother. I'm calling her mother.
Hey.
I'm like, come get her.
Oh
Come get
man, come
You
get
making
her. I don't want
making
to
a
deal with it.
U-turn,
Like, yeah,
right?
dude,
Hey,
listen, man.
that's it.
But
But
it's
it change.
it's
Each
beautiful, man. It's
it is
yeah,
beautiful,
beautiful.
man. Like,
yes,
It's a
because
yes.
beautiful thing. Yeah.
I look back and Facebook is hell. Pictures are hell because you
Mm,
get all these memories and shit.
Bruh.
Pictures popping up. Like, I had a picture pop up the other day. My daughter was, I think, maybe 6 months old,
yeah.
Oh
and I
man.
was like,
Mm.
I'm looking at the phone,
Mm,
and she's sitting right next to me, right, and I'm like,
mm,
I said, hey,
mm,
you know who that is?
mm.
She said, oh, it's Baby Journey. I was like, and I'm looking, I'm like, bro, how did this happen so fast? Like,
Bruh,
literally,
bruh. It's so
like
These
I was just
fast.
things.
bringing you, we was just bringing you home from the hospital, and now,
Yeah.
I,
Hmm.
Yeah.
bro, we we
Yeah.
we 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 doing everything. Like
Yeah.
you in fourth grade. Like what? Like
Hmm.
that's
Yeah.
not. It's so. I now I understand. You know what my mama used to tell me. Wait till you had kids.
Mm,
Mm,
Hmm.
never understood it. Like okay,
mm,
never
mm.
understood it. But now, golly, I overstand it now
Overstand it.
because
Overstated,
Hey,
yo.
listen,
that's
there
great.
is
I'm
not
getting
a
it.
thing in the world that I would not do for my kids, bro. Like I
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
don't care. If I go, listen, bro. Love
Mm,
is one thing,
Hmm.
and I think that's what a lot of kids are missing, bro. I try to tell my kids I love them when they wake up,
Hmm.
in the middle of the day, if she here, like when she at home before they go to bed, because
yeah.
you just don't know, right? With
Hmm.
so much everything that's going on in the world, and I came from that. Even though I was raised by my mom made sure that she filled our house with love, right? It
Right.
was, and it's so to the point to where my wife thinks she always tells me she's like you so like when I tell you I love you, it's like you don't feel it. I said, man, it's when we first started dating. I said I didn't hurt her my whole life. I
Mm,
know I'm loved by somebody,
right.
so I mean it when I say I love you. It's just that my mama instilled that in me,
Right.
and I don't know, I don't know no other way. So it's no disrespect to you. It's just
Mm,
that I grew up that way, and
yeah.
that's one thing I can say about my childhood is that my mother always kept me um, in a positive environment. Right? She took me the moment she saw something, she got me out of there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Like just to, and so that stayed with me when I went to college. Man, she was most of our mothers are praying mothers, right?
Hmm.
And I'm
mm,
pretty sure y'all can go back in time when you was in college or in a certain situation, and you
mm,
know, I could hear my mama's voice like,
mm,
"You need to get out of there,"
mm,
and not without even knowing.
mm,
And I get out of a place and wake up the next day, somebody got shot at the same party I was at, or somebody got in a fight and blah 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 this and that, and it may have been somebody I was connected to, right?
Hmm.
But I always heard that voice, and that's to me, I think is I ain't gonna say what's missing in today's society. It's not a praying mother. It's just that I feel like these kids just don't get it, bro. You know what I mean? Like, and I think it's the parents, right? Because the parents either let grandpa raise them, and so it's like, grandpa and grandma, that they what first thing they say? Shit, I ain't raising no more kids. I raised y'all. Like what? I'm gonna let him do what he want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like that's so. I think it's our generation of parenting is um from what I see as a millennial, I think it's pretty dope, man, because a lot of us that were raised, I would say right, but just raised with values and raised with different morals that our kids, Gen Alphas, they are way more respectable. You know what I'm saying? Like because of how we was raised. I could be wrong, but this just my opinion because Gen Z, yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that generation, dog. Like I love kids to death, man, but it's like I just, you know, it's all about respect for me, and I think it just one time, like, can somebody just, you know, I know I probably can't say it but somebody need to ask for it, man. Like seriously,
We talk about that all the time, bro.
Hey,
I'm gonna just say it. Some of these kids they ain't get whooped. They ain't get whooped with extension
but
cords, wrenches, rodeo belts,
Rodeo belt.
remotes. Like, come on,
I
man.
don't even know what a rodeo belt is, bro.
hey,
Listen,
man, from
I'm from
Texas,
Texas,
man.
dog. I'm from
Texas,
Texas, dog.
Pittsburgh,
Hey,
they
my
use
mama
something
had a
else.
rodeo
DC, we
belt.
use something else.
Hey, my mama had a rodeo belt, but that thick.
Bruh.
She said 8 seconds. You got eight
Couldn't,
seconds.
hey, couldn't sit,
Get
couldn't
ready.
sit for days.
Bruh.
Get ready.
Got a
Open this
whole
gate.
brand on my ass. Like, for real, man. Like,
Man, I know about the spatula,
but
but not the belt, the rodeo belt.
a spatula. Hey, listen. And if to me, that's your parent finding anything accessible to whoop your ass
Hey,
to
Hey, that
show
is
they,
it,
hey,
bro. Yeah, that's it.
weapon of our
and look how we turned out. And look how
Hey,
we
yeah,
turned out. We turned out all
yeah,
right. You know
we
what I
alright.
mean? Like
Yeah, we
it's,
yeah.
alright.
Nah,
but we made, we all done made mistakes, but I think at the end of the day, we are
yeah,
centrally aligned. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like we not in
yeah,
jail.
Hmm.
We not in no bad situations. So it's like,
yeah,
the moment they took that away and
Hmm.
turned it into something,
Hmm.
that's where it ended. And I'm not saying
hmm
I whoop my kids because I don't,
right,
Hmm.
but I think at the same time we got to find ways to really, you know, be be firm with our kids so they understand
Hmm.
like, hey, listen, daddy
yeah,
not playing. Like I said
yeah,
it, and I want you to know
That's
and
it.
feel it how I said it.
Hmm.
yeah. And that's what's missing, I think, is
Hmm.
we come from. I'm slightly older than both of you gentlemen, and we definitely came, but our generation, say if I was the oldest in that generation, y'all were the youngest of that span of kids. We
Right,
understood who the authority was in the house, the techniques, and were they the kind of parents that walk things back when they made a mistake? No, they were not that kind of parent. They weren't a reflective
right,
parent. It's like, you know what? When I gave you 37 hits with the spatula, I really could have done it with five, and I apologize. They weren't that parent, right? But you understood that there was a hierarchy in the house. And I think that
Yes.
yeah,
that is what's missing based on what we see in education is that line has been blurred. And when you do not establish that early, you end up with a teenager who feels like they're an adult,
yeah,
and we see that dynamic a lot, particularly when there's no man in the house and the boy reaches an age where he's physically bigger than his mother. He
right,
has desires that she cannot and should not meet, and he wants what he wants, and she cannot rein him in. And so at
right,
that point, you wish there was a man around to say, "Look, let's readjust this hierarchy."
right,
And so this early work and this work along the way that we do with men is so vital, because if it's not done, then the downstream effects are terrible.
right,
Speech, I just got one more quick question. In your journey, and in your interactions with men, I'm sure you run into men that either don't want to hear the message, they're reluctant, or they just maybe doing some stuff out of pocket. Everybody's not showing up to the village like ready to go and mouth open, ready to be fed. You're gonna run into some
Right.
jokers where they just hard. How do you address a man who's just hard of hearing and unwilling to to do the things he needs to do to be a better dad, husband, to shoulder his load? How do y'all handle it down there in Texas?
I don't,
Mm.
and it's not out of disrespect for
Mm,
uh that man or men. It's just what we dealing with isn't, and I say what we dealing with, the process we go through from denial to blaming, it don't have no timetable on it, right?
mm,
It really doesn't. And I think you gotta respect other men's thought process when it comes to dealing with a diagnosis of something that they didn't plan for, right? When you have kids, you don't plan for your child to be, on special needs or be autistic or have any type of disability. You don't plan for that, right? So it's a shocker, and it's like, okay, and as men, we have boys, it's like, man, I can't wait to go out in the backyard and throw football with my son. I can't wait to put him in basketball. I can't wait, because these are all the things that I thought about. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
Like, and you know, uh, it took me years to be to get where I'm at. My son's 7. So I can't judge another man that decides he ain't ready. He's still going through the process. But boy, when I tell you, when you get out of that process, man, like it's what you see today. Is who I am today. And it's not what last year, what 2 years ago, like this is who I am today. I've always been there for my son. There's nothing I would not do for my kids. But I wasn't ready to be vocal about it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Because I still was learning the journey of, how autism works, because we don't really know about it until it hits your front door. So now you have to indulge yourself into research, finding out ways to help your son. And while you're doing that, you still going through the process, but you're not ready to talk about it.
Mm.
So plain and simple, man. I've had brothers that I've reached out to that, they say, oh yeah, man, let's talk, out of this and that, and they just disappear.
Mm.
And I take that as they not ready to talk. And I respect that, because I'm not gonna force you to to sit down and talk to me on a podcast where potentially millions of people can see it, and you mess up and say the wrong thing, or you put yourself in the light, which I would never allow that, because obviously we can edit and all that other stuff. But I think at the end of the day, it's just that thought process of, am I really ready to tell my business like that? Am I
Mm.
really, really, really ready to be vulnerable? And they not. And you can't do nothing but respect that, bro. And I think as a man, we gotta know when to let up. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of us do. Cause you like, hey, bro, I'm here. When something happens, somebody say, hey, bro, I'm here if you need to talk.
Mm.
You may not hear from that brother. You know what I'm saying? So you had to call him back. Hey, man, just checking on you. Just see anything you need. Nah, I'm good. All right. Well, it's nothing to pick up the phone, text, anything. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's just, you gotta, that's how I've always been. I'm not gonna put somebody to talk to me about something that they just not ready to talk about.
Mm.
yeah, fair
Well,
enough. Wise
yeah.
words.
Yeah, for sure, man, for sure. And I think that's a perfect way to kind of wrap things up, man. Will, thank you so much for your vulnerability, your assertive
Bro,
vulnerability, and your
absolutely.
openness, man. I enjoyed this
Yeah.
podcast 100 times over. The laughs were great. Um, we would love to have you back on, and we would love to join you as well at some point on your platform.
Absolutely.
Um, and Kelly always has some
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
closing words as well.
Yeah, no, you. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. We always, my closing word is, what would you say for guys who are in our path? And we, I think it's better baby daddies, but man, our advice
Hmm.
is do what Will did. You find the one, lock in, and then whatever God blesses you with that, you shoulder up with your spouse, and y'all do that thing.
Yeah,
Do what he did. And if you're not on that path, then what's wisdom that you have for any young brother who wants to be a good dad and a good husband? I'd say that. Well, what would be a bit of advice for them?
be consistent,
Mm.
Mm,
and that because women they watch us like hawks, good, bad, and indifferent. They know your every move. You know what I
hmm
mean? Like, so if you gonna screw up, be consistent, bro. Like, just
Yeah.
be consistent. But
Yeah,
but nah, for real. Like, seriously, just being consistent and being intentional.
yeah,
Be intentional with everything that you do, because guys are always watching. I don't really care about what nobody else thinks about me, but I think once you get to a point and you feel like intent, I'm putting forward my best foot forward to be a great father, a great husband, like a great brother, uncle. Like,
yeah.
show up. You know what I mean? Like, show up and be intentional about everything that you do, and give yourself grace.
hmm
Because this thing called life is not easy,
Mm-mm.
and you know, find people that pour into you, not take out of you.
Amen.
That's the
Mhm.
that's the last thing I would say, and I think that's the most
Right.
important thing, because people come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. But
Hmm.
if they not good for you, they just taking life out of you that you could have been given to somebody else, and you could have been doing something else. So find the people that you align with. Find the people that are they care about you, not
Yeah.
just the you know what I'm saying, not just the physical, but the spiritual, right?
Yeah.
Because I think that's another thing that we ain't really touch on, is the spiritual side of it, right?
We ain't get
Because
there yet, no.
we ain't get there, but mental health is important,
Yeah.
fellas. Keep yourselves straight.
Yeah.
Talk to somebody, man. Find your village.
Hmm.
Um, and it's always, man, it's village love over here, baby. I really appreciate y'all for
Hmm.
the
We appreciate you,
opportunity and
man.
the platform. And one last thing I'm gonna say, and you can cut it off. Go Cowboys.
Oh, I knew that was coming.
No, we ain't leaving on that. We ain't leaving on that.
Put the star up. Put
I
the
smell.
star up, baby.
I smell a
Put the
whiff of
star up.
delusion.
Put
Hey,
the
but
star up, man.
until next time, I'm John.
Until next time.
And I'm
All right,
Kelly.
fellas. Appreciate y'all,
All
man.
right.
And,
Appreciate you, Will.
and
All
that
right
was
now.
Will
Y'all
of the
take care.
Village. All right, later, man.
Yes, sir.